I've heard this was the rumor that Alabama really likes Mario Cristobal to replace Saban when he retires.
Well, Mario Cristobal better show us something at Miami first.
Yeah. I know. I think Cristobal turns that around. I think he's the real deal. He went over to Oregon, good team in Oregon.
So what does
And
that mean to you? What are you saying when you say turn it around?
well, I
What does
mean,
that look like?
Miami, obviously, look at how they looked in the last couple of years. I mean, they have fallen out of grace, right? They used to be an elite team, and now they're just the brands, right? So they're going, what they go 5-7.
Yes. Well, Miami was an elite team over 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, because of the brands, it still carries some impact.
Sure.
Florida recruiting. I think he's the kind of guy that can recruit. He's a really good recruit. The players seem to really like him from all the reports I've read. When he was at Oregon, much like Pittman at Arkansas, he was a coordinator, and the players asked the administration to make him the head coach, and they listened to the players. And that's, same thing in Arkansas with Pittman. The players went and vouched and say, hey, we want this guy. This guy can recruit. He's the guy to rebuild this program. And then Mario just has such a passion for the U. I mean, I remember he said he used to ride his bike down to just see Michael Irvin clash with some of their top cornerbacks in practice. And he played there. I mean, if anyone can make Miami again, it's Mario Cristobal.
Okay, so I'm not quite as sold on Mario Cristobal. I think that he was a good hire. I think he was a logical hire because he had done a really nice job at Oregon, both in recruiting and the game results were generally good. He accomplished good things at Oregon. I don't know that his teams were necessarily prepared to play in certain situations, nor was he capable enough to lead his coaching staff to make the kind of adjustments that needed to be made and prepare for big games. So he comes to Miami, and of course, this is, well, I thought it was his dream job, but you're telling me he's going to go to Alabama.
Well, no, I've heard that's the rumor that Cristobal was like their guy, but I think his dream job is Miami. I don't see him leaving if he's successful.
So what concerns me about Mario Cristobal is that Mario Cristobal took over a good roster. He took over a team that went 7-5 the year before and played much better than that down the stretch. And they were lucky to be 5-7. Like, they played a pretty poor schedule and still found a way to lose 7 games to some pretty bad football teams. And I don't totally buy. So we've got a Miami show that we do on Wednesday night with our guy, Cam Underwood, State of the U, who knows so much more about Miami football and is well-versed and knows his stuff and may be correct in that Mario Cristobal saw this as a reclamation project that had to be torn down to the very bones, the bare bones. This had to be torn down. I don't necessarily see that or agree with that. I don't know why that was necessary. He took over a roster that was a top 15 roster. I've just seen other situations like that where, take Pete Carroll at USC, take a number of other coaches where they stepped in, Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, and they took over programs that were struggling. They weren't anywhere close to what is expected, but they didn't like tear the thing to shreds and start from ground zero. They were able to take off.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if it's true, but I heard someone made a comment that now with the transfer portal, that's easier to do. So Cristobal was kind of really also taking advantage of that and getting rid of the folks he just didn't feel bought in. And the other thing was a lot of the blame is being thrown towards the offensive coordinator who got let go. people felt he was just the wrong hire.
Yeah, and I see that. Shoot, he was a Royals Award finalist before I believe he won the award. So he was supposed to be one of the better offensive coordinators in football.
But you know what? A lot of people had said, hey, this guy, don't believe the hype. Miami's going to learn the hard way. And it obviously did not work out.
Yeah, I think there was a reason not to believe the hype, and that's that Jim Harbaugh ultimately runs the Michigan offense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what people would say too. It's like some of these guys are getting all the glory when in reality the head coach is the one that just won't let go of their responsibilities, right? And let the OC run freely. And obviously it was a disaster, Miami, but it's year one, I have faith Cristobal gets it turned around. Hopefully he stays there. They don't fire him, do you think if he has another season like the 5-7 of last year, he's on the hot seat, or are they going to honor his contract and let him?
Oh, I think that they are invested in him.
Yeah.
But back to my first question in response to your question would be, what is turned around at Miami?
Well,
are they competing for a national championship?
No, I think I think being very competitive, one of those probably top 3-4 teams in the ACC. I think a top 3, just behind Clemson, just behind I wouldn't even want to say behind Florida State, but being right there with Florida State.
Okay.
I think if they and Florida State have the same record next year, and if Florida State win, that would be a successful season. I don't think you could be too.
Yeah, this next season, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're saying that Miami, a turnaround at Miami means that they're one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the ACC.
Oh yeah. I think as far as next year, that's what I was getting for next year. I think Cristobal is the guy. Like I really like the hire.
If that's all he accomplishes by the end of his tenure at Miami, I would consider that to be a bust.
Yeah, no. I think Cristobal can recruit. I think he's the kind of coach that Miami's going to be they will be a playoff contender in the next in year 3. I think that's what I would consider success.